Okay, I think everybody is in the room. Very good evening to you, or wherever you are around the world. I don't know, you might be in different countries, so it might be morning or afternoon. Hello and welcome to this latest ACPE Alumni Reconnection events. In case you don't know me, my name is Simon Hill. I'm your virtual MC for the evening. I'm a broadcaster with 30 years experience, mainly as a football commentator, for the likes of Fox Sports and SBS here in Australia. Prior to that, I was with the BBC and ITV, among many others, back in the UK. I'm also a student at ACPE, having embarked upon, although sadly not yet finished, a graduate diploma in sports administration, which is hence why I'm on brands today with the T-shirt. Now, over the next hour, we're going to hear from our special guest, Matt Carroll, CEO of the Australian Olympic Committee. And we've got 2 rounds of trivia as well for you with some very good prizes. So hopefully your brains are in gear. Just to run through a little bit of housekeeping, if you could keep yourself on mute and leave your video on, that would be great. The last thing, obviously, we want to hear is mobile phones going off or TV shows playing in the background. If you want to use the chat function to introduce yourself and ask any questions that you might have throughout the night, then please feel free to do so, particularly with regards to the interview with Matt. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of time to ask 1 or 2 of your questions as well. So hopefully we're going to have an interesting hour and a lot of fun as well. Oh, there you all are. Hello. Lots of you all over the screen. Welcome wherever you are. Let's kick things off with Michael McKnight, our partnership and alumni manager, who's going to say a few words now about the alumni program. Michael.
Thank you, Simon. And yes, good evening to all of our alumni that have joined us here this evening, and our committee members and ACPE staff here tonight. We're really excited to kick things off with our new alumni program tonight. And we're really excited as to what the future holds for everyone here. So, guys, as we all know, ACPE, there's something special about the place. We have a strong history of 103 years. And as a college, we're very, very proud of where we've been and where we've come from. Along the way, ACPE has come a long way. Perhaps for some of you on the call tonight that are not aware of where we are at now, we currently offer 14 different bachelor degrees across the departments of sport business, sport performance, health and movement, health science, education, and dance. As I said, there's always something special about ACPE, and for those that have studied here at the college or worked here at the college, really understand this. ACPE has always had a strong community and family feel, and really becomes a home for everyone who enters the campus to excel in their studies, their personal and professional development, and of course, make the most of all the social programs that the college offers as well. Now, I'd like to acknowledge, as would ACPE as an organisation, we've not always had the strongest alumni engagement program. As such, this will be a strong focus for the college and the committee moving forward to create this valuable program for you guys as well. Our aim is to deliver a program that creates value for our alumni across different decades and generations, and this will be highlighted in the benefits program that I'll speak to very shortly. Another key aim for us is to really highlight our alumni and further our understanding of what the ACPE alumni journey really looks like. There will be a massive impact on our current students with this. And our current students, I feel, will naturally always look up and aspire to be where our alumni are today, obviously. Now, myself and my colleagues at ACPE, we always have meetings with industry professionals, both around the park and the wider community. And very, very often, Debbie will speak to this as well. They introduce themselves as ACPE alumni. And it always surprises me when I meet people in sport or education that don't know that ACPE exists. And they don't know what we offer. Our alumni are really doing amazing things out there in the industry, and we really want to showcase this to the wider community and let it be known what is really special about ACPE. So I guess over the next few years and into the future, we really hope that the college will be able to be a strong base of support for all our alumni across different generations to support you and continually support your development and through your career as well. We really would like to connect with you, connect you with one another, and obviously bring you back into the college and open up future opportunities as well. As a college, we're obviously very proud of our alumni and excited to step into this newer chapter with the Alumni Engagement Program. And I appreciate everyone that's here with us tonight to kick things off. And we're also really excited to be working with our new ACPE Alumni Committee, which has been in the works for some time now, and I'm sure James will speak to that shortly. But I'll be back shortly to speak to the benefits. But on behalf of ACPE and the wider community, thank you for being with us tonight. And we're really looking forward to what the future has in store.
Thanks very much indeed, Michael. Michael is also going to help me with the trivia a bit later on. He's compiled 5 very tough questions, I can tell you, in round 1, which is all about ACPE. So just have a think. It's entitled, Have You Been Paying Attention in Class? So let's hope you have been. Now, if I can invite James Ellender, who's a couple of boxes along from me, CEO of Active Exchange and also chair of the ACPE Alumni Committee, to introduce our committee members, I should say. James.
Thanks, Simon. And my favourite TV show, Have You Been Paying Attention? So hopefully, looking forward to that section. But look, really excited to say hello. I am sitting at home and my 2-year-old boy has just stood up on timing, so on cue. But look, the ACPE alumni for me is a really interesting proposition for all of us to think about. For me, I graduated in 2004 and made the decision to go to ACPE because an alumni gave me some guidance back in 2001 as I was graduating high school and didn't get the marks that I needed and had to look at a different path. And it was the best decision I ever made was to go to ACPE, and the college environment and the close-knit community that it was just everything I needed. And my career's been fantastic ever since. But as Michael said, whilst I did PE teaching, and that's not what I do today. As now CEO of Active Exchange, a data tech company in sport and leisure, but it's completely different to what I studied. But everywhere I go, the network that exists around ACPE blows me away. And I think we've got a real opportunity as a committee to harness that. And we had our first get-together a month or so ago, and there was 50 years of graduates sitting around a room thinking about how we create a connection. And that really stood out to me. And I think we're sort of looking forward to what that might look like over the years ahead, as we really, our whole focus is about that connection and that network and having an alumni presence that our graduates and our future students and people involved in the college can really latch onto with some meaning. So I'll hand around. I think we've got a couple of apologies today. Both Tim Menner and Mark Thompson aren't able to make it, unfortunately. But we have got Sarah, Kelly, Tisha, Jennifer, Greg and Paul, who are going to introduce themselves in that order. I think they're all we're well trained and well rehearsed. So you get a bit of an insight about them. But look, my last point is I had a great time on college. The thing that stands out to me still today, being involved on the academic governance board and the committee, is that it still is that place that is about the small bunch of students and guiding them through their study. It still is that, but fantastic facility. If you haven't been there recently, you have to. It's brilliant. So I'll hand over to Sarah to kick off the rest of the alumni committee introductions.
Hey guys, so it's Sarah McDonald. Well, just recently married, so Sarah Wheeler now. So I went to ACPE back, when was it? 2014 was my first year. I went in and did a Bachelor of Health and Movement and graduated that in 2016. I loved the place so much that I went back again and did my post-grad dip in sports administration. And I did that sort of part-time because I was working full-time in sports. So I finished that in 2018. Throughout my career, I've worked for the NRL itself, then moved into the Rabbitohs, and now I'm at Giants. I just love everything about ACPE. It was my life for a very long time. I've made the bestest friends there. So being a part of this ACP alumni committee, straight away when I was asked to be a part of it, I jumped on it straight away. Giving the opportunity, I have internship programs with the Giants, and straight away, like having people come from ACPE and teaching them to come into the sporting world and giving them all the tools to set them up is just really important. And I just really wanted to continue doing that. And as soon as the committee was offered, I was like, yep, straight away. So it's really special. It's a really special place, ACPE. And I've spoken to many kids, you know, in year 12 over the last couple of years, and a few of them actually go to ACP after a few words that I've said to them. So hopefully they'll be finishing up soon. So but yeah, that's a bit about me. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to be on this journey, and hopefully we can reconnect and for the community.
Thanks, Sarah. Over to Kelly.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just telling the kid next door that my son isn't home. So I have been very fortunate to be able to have the experiences that I did have at ACPE, professionally, academically, and personally. I was a student in 2000, so completed 2 degrees between then and 2005 in PE and sports business, and then began a role in as a student engagement manager, which I stuck at for 12 years and loved every day that I turned up to work, without a lie. So I've had some really amazing experiences and met some of these people on this phone call now, and really enjoyed watching their careers. So Sarah, you know, I look at LinkedIn all the time and really glad to see how our students are progressing through the world of sport, and some having some challenges at the moment, but really with positive attitudes, I think has been really nice to see. And I think that really is the ACPE way. Had some amazing experiences taking students to uni sport trips. I think I did 26 uni games. And again, some of those people on those calls. So I've seen lots of sides of people, and also many other events and trips to Cambodia, and yeah, as I said, wonderful events and activities that I've been a part of, and over the years there. I'll always say that ACP runs through my blood. My husband is an ACP graduate, so it's also through my children's blood. We've seen the impact that the culture and the family and the community of ACP has had on many of us, and provided life-changing experiences for its students. So, you know, that's really my hope for being a part of this alumni committee, is that so I can selfishly stay connected to all of that and to all those amazing experiences and the people, but also help build on the foundation and energy that Mike's putting and the team is putting into this initiative, and help those current and prospective students have somewhat of an experience that I was able to have both as a student and a staff member. So, yeah, my favorite memories of ACP was, you know, swimming classes and tennis, and but really as a staff member taking those students to Cambodia as part of the cultural experience program is still really a massive highlight of my life, and watching the value and the impact that experience brought to the students is one that will stay with me and for many of us that were involved in it forever. So yeah, thank you for being online, and for some of the people I've been in contact with in the last couple of weeks. It's great to see you on here. I am handing over to Tish.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm Tish. I think from what we can gather, I'm the most recent ACP alumnus on the alumni committee. I graduated last year, which is not, I mean, I didn't actually graduate. I haven't got my certificate yet. So hopefully that can all go ahead next year. But I am currently working at Water Polo Australia. I got a job with them through an internship that actually the university set up for me. So the uni has come through again to me, using the connections that I built at Water Polo to get another ACPE intern into our uni, into our workplace. So hopefully that can set them up as well, like it's helped me, and how the uni's helped me progress early on in my career. I think that my favourite memory of ACPE has to be competing at the university games, but also just playing table tennis in the common room and socialising and getting to know all the staff and really making those connections with everybody, because I think it's an important part, and that's why I wanted to be on the committee and get the most recent class of ACPE and all my friends to come in and help us build a better and a better uni and build it up for everybody in the future.
I think it's my turn now, and I'm Jennifer Mace Deves. I graduated with Lee in 1979. We did a diploma bachelor in physical education. We weren't as lucky as you lot who had the best facilities. We travelled all around Sydney from various venues, like swimming was at Sydney Uni. We had stuff at Macquarie. We did dance at Enfield, and our college was at Croydon, just beside the Croydon railway tracks. And on the opposite side, where we did some of our lectures, was at the Croydon Hotel. We also had to go at night to upgrade our qualifications, and that was driving around Sydney yet again. Since graduating, I have held a number of positions within the Department of Education. I'm currently the Deputy Principal at Bega High School and loving every minute of it. And it was a great privilege to be asked by Michael to join this committee, and I look forward to the involvement throughout this year. It's a shame we can't all meet together, but it's a good way to reconnect and hopefully forward it on. We did have our 40th anniversary this year, so which was great, and got to see a lot of people who may have got older but really haven't changed. And we had a great night, day-night, and especially looking around the new facilities that are at the college, which are absolutely amazing. I'm very envious. And it's with pleasure that I recommend ACPE to lots of young people travelling through. So thank you for this opportunity and enjoy the night. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Greg Aiken. It's great to see a few familiar faces from the schools that I deal with in the meeting today. I know that we're trying to get those names out there and get those teachers that I become involved with in amongst the alumni. So I graduated in 1981, there for 3 years, and then I was one of the first people to do a conversion to bachelor, which was external. We were at a different time, I guess, in those days that Jennifer will remember, that we were some of the first teachers to come out of ACPE that could actually teach in the Department of Education. So before that, everyone could only teach in the private schools. So about 1981 or 80-81, around there, was the first time that ACPE had people in the state system. So that opened up a great thing for all of us. Since then, I taught at Kinross Walleroy School in Orange for 20 years as head of PE and sport, and then moved on to being executive officer of ACES, which is the Association of Independent Co-Educational Schools. That's a co-ed sporting association that has 78 schools in it throughout New South Wales, and students come through us through the schools to compete at CIS. So having that 75 schools, I'm hoping to really dig into those schools and find all of our ACPE students in there, ex-ACPE students, because I know just from chatting to people, there's lots and lots of people there. Favourite times, I'd have to say, being such a small year, we only had 27 in our year at ACPE, and our whole college at that stage was about 100 students. So you really knew everyone, because we sort of passed through the Croydon campus now and again, meeting everyone, and everyone went to the Croydon Hotel as well. So we sort of met each other there. Favourite memories going to Intercols, which you call uni games. We only had 100 students, and we would win the Intercols every year against some of like Ku-ring-gai College and these are now UTS and universities like that. And they had universities with thousands of students, and they weren't always very happy that with our 100 students would usually win that intercol. So it has been a great time. So my job, from what I can see here, is to try and facilitate through the vast network of independent schools that I have. I'm trying to get all those ex-students in there back into the ACPE fold. Thank you.
Hey guys, Paul Collins here. How are you? I graduated in 496, so I was part of the transition from Croydon across to the new Olympic facilities, where we were the first people to use the athletic track and swimming pool and continually using the sports centre, which was a fantastic period of my life. Really enjoyed that process. I was introduced by a mate of mine who was actually at the college, and he said, "You'd be a great, you really enjoy it," and I really have from there. I graduated with a Bachelor of Physical Education and didn't really go into teaching. I was more sports and fitness orientated. So I've been across the fitness industry for the past 25 years in area. And now I'm currently National Fitness Director of UFC, one of the largest brands in the world in sport, and just pretty much in control of everything to do with the martial arts side, the fitness side, the strength and conditioning side. Previous to that, I've written 30 books around the world on fitness and exercise. I think it's 35, I don't know. I get lost. I've got my latest one here, which is Sports Strength, which I did with a guy called Ronnie Palmer, who I think was a former graduate as well back in the 70s. And Ronnie's been around for a long time in strength and conditioning in that field. So we've, UFC have formed an alignment or a partnership with ACPE. And we're planning, and what we've been doing is looking at internships for graduates in the sports science sort of area, anything to do with fitness and exercise. So still in that area, but just sort of veering off at a different angle. We really enjoy the students coming through. We actually interviewed a student late last year who was finishing his degree, and offered him employment as a fitness manager at our large facility in Bankstown. So he's enjoying that. He's from a martial arts background named Cooper Watkins. So he's going good guns over there. So really having that extra bit of qualification and experience. And what I learned when I did my degree was pretty much you start from the very start, you're actually practically teaching. And I think that's the important thing that this offers. And so I'm always promoting ACPE through there. My cousin's in sports commentary as well. So like Simon, her name's Tracy Holmes, and she's married to Stan Grant. So we've always got this relationship in sport, exercise, fitness, and that sort of thing. And soccer, Tracy did a few of the World Cups around over the last sort of few decades and that. But yeah, really excited in sport. So really excited to be part of the committee. I've seen a lot of transition in the club, in the facilities to the new facilities. It's an amazing place. So we're looking at increasing that partnership with Michael and the team over there as much as we can to further promote opportunities for ACP students. So thank you.
Okay, I think that's all our committee. Thanks very much indeed, Paul, and top marks for using this forum for trying to sell a few books. I don't think anybody would have thought of that, actually. So let's, just kidding. Let's move on. If I can invite Michael McKnight again to say a few words. There are, of course, many benefits to being a part of the ACPE alumni community, including these sorts of social reunions and professional development opportunities and events such as tonight. And ACPE believes that even once you graduate, the college maintains or remains your intellectual home, and that remaining part of your alma mater provides this worldwide network which continues to help you and in turn helps the further development of ACPE. So Michael, back to you to further elaborate, please.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you to all the committee members. And yes, there'll be plenty of time to promote your books in due course, I'm sure. So guys, I sent through a link via the chat function on Zoom. That is home to our alumni webpage. If you'd like to open it now or look at it later as a reference point to these benefits, feel free. So guys, there's currently 9 alumni benefits on offer for all of our alumni here, and obviously across Australia. I won't go through them all word for word. what I'm going to do is provide a quick outline as to each of the benefits as well. So if you do want to check out the webpage while I'm talking, do feel free. So the first one, which is very exciting, of course, is our alumni receive a free library membership for the first 12 months on campus. Thereafter, it is $20 a year for the 12 months as well. So we'd love to have our alumni come on campus and use our state-of-the-art library. The second benefit, and by the way, guys, these are in no particular order, is our Alumni Plus program, which allows our alumni to receive a 20% discount on any further study at ACPE. I think this is pretty relevant at the moment because the college has just introduced a range of undergraduate certificates in sports leadership, sports coaching, and health promotion. So they'll all be available for alumni to enroll in next year at that discounted rate. As you all know, being alumni, career development and that career space at ACP is critical. As such, our careers team here on campus are committed to supporting our alumni with career guidance and support. So on that webpage there, at any time throughout the year, please feel free to book an appointment. They take bookings online, or you're more than welcome to come on campus in person and talk to the team as well. The next point here, which is a new point that we introduced to the ACP community, is our ACP Careers Hub. Now, this is an exclusive jobs platform or recruitment portal for ACPE. Now, there's two ways alumni can engage with this platform. The first being to browse the ACP Careers Hub to apply for the voluntary internship and paid opportunities. We do have specific opportunities on the Careers Hub that are tailored for alumni. And number two, the other way they can engage with this is to promote their own opportunities from their own organisations or place of work to promote those to current students and alumni as well. So obviously industry experience is a key part of ACPE, as you all know, and we'd love nothing more than to send our students off to our alumni as well. So all the information to register for the Careers Hub is on the webpage that I've sent out there. This is a brand new benefit that we're not announcing tonight, and I won't take the credit for this one. This is James Allender's idea, so well done, James. We're going to introduce the alumni hot desk and parking service. So we're going to open up the campus for alumni to book a free workspace and a park space whenever they'd like to come into campus. Obviously, parking can be at a premium, and we've got some great office space for our alumni too. So we're currently opening this up from 10 till 3 to start with, but depending on what happens over the next few months into the future, we'll look at opening this up for our alumni as well. And we'd love nothing more than to have you guys on campus working alongside us as well. The next point here is obviously networking opportunities. This year's been very difficult to create these. We're all used to seeing our faces on the screen, began networking online. But as we move into hopefully a different year next year, we will open up opportunities with our industry partner network to our alumni and also push out networking opportunities from alumni to alumni as well. So do keep an eye out for that, those networking opportunities. With the networking as well, guys, we will be putting the social events together, which will obviously provide a networking opportunity for you guys as well. Another point here is the alumni reunions and events. So over the last few years, we've hosted a bunch of reunions for alumni who've inquired to us and said, we've got a reunion coming up, just like Jenny has. We'd like to do it at the campus and obviously go down to the pub as well. We are more than happy to organise these reunions for you guys. And on the other side, any ACPE organised reunions and events we'll be promoting, just like we have for this one. I must say we've had some cracking reunions over the last couple of years. My favourite's probably when we had the class of 1963. I think there was 11 graduates out of the possible 13, and they had a long boozy lunch in the boardroom, and they were walking around the campus with champagne, and it was brilliant. And obviously, Jennifer, your reunion was one to remember as well. So we are more than happy to help you kind of reconnect with your old classmates and friends. The final two benefits, just quickly, guys, a discounted venue hire. So for those that have been to the campus, we have a wide range of lecture rooms available. We've got a state-of-the-art gym and sports hall as well. So we're home to a few big organisations out here like Sport New South Wales and Sydney Kings at the moment. So if you ever want to use the space for a workshop, a seminar or use our facilities, please do connect with us because we're happy to offer that to you. And the final one, last but not least, we are very excited to announce this benefit, the Alumni to Alumni Mentoring Program. This is obviously going to have huge value, we hope, to our alumni, and it'll really show the knowledge that exists within the community. So over the next few weeks, we will be announcing our 5 alumni mentors, and we will be running an expression of interest and application program for all of our alumni to apply and express interest in this. So once we've confirmed the final 5, we will then open up the application process to everyone. And if I'm not mistaken, I'll put him on the spot here. I think we've got one of our mentors with us here tonight, Justin Ashley. Are you here with us, Justin?
Yep, sure am, Michael.
Awesome, great to have you with us. So Justin graduated in 2003 and he is the co-founder and CEO of Fitness Playground. So I guess just quickly, Justin, thoughts around being involved in the mentoring program and what you're looking forward to most about it?
Yeah, jumping into a teaching degree, it's always been a passion to be working with kids and young people. Looking at myself, similar to James, I didn't do so well at school, but really thrived in university. So being able to connect with students who maybe had a similar path to myself, really great at sport, great sporting career as a kid, not a great student, but then an awesome university career. And that teaching degree created the stepping stone to what I do today, which is a lot of leadership and management. We've got a couple of hundred staff at my company. So from that, I'd love to be able to take, someone who's newly graduated and just guide them through goal setting and setting some foundations about guiding them in their career to perhaps potentially something they've studied or maybe looking left or right, like many of the people on this call today have.
Awesome, Justin. Thank you, and thanks for being with us. And in time, we'll be announcing the rest of the mentors, guys, so I really encourage to keep an eye out. So those were the 9 benefits, team. Just to quickly add on, we do have programs on offer as well that are ongoing. So one, which I hope some of you would have seen, is our Alumni Game Changer series. Now, this is basically a highlight of all the awesome stuff our alumni are doing out there. So check out our webpage for that. And there is also a nomination form for this. So if you'd like to nominate an old classmate or friend to be part of our Game Changer series, please do feel free. We've also got the Reconnection program, which is basically we've set up a range of Facebook groups for our alumni to join to help connect you with old classmates as well. And the final program that we've introduced is our Alumni Referral program, which is what it sounds basically, guys. So alumni get paid a $1,000 referral fee if they were to refer a student to enroll at ACPE. So that's one that I see Tish, your eyes light up there, but that's one that we've just introduced in time as well. So all that information is on the webpage, and I'm sure at the end of the call, Debbie will speak to some of those points as well. But other than that, that's back over to you, Simon, and we'll catch you for some trivia.
Indeed you will. Thanks very much, Michael. Ladies and gents, we're now going to move on to our main chat of the evening, which is a Q&A with one of the most influential administrators in the country. He was a director at New South Wales Rugby for 4 years before moving to the ARU, where he was CEO until 2003 and also general manager of the Rugby World Cup of the same year. In 2004, he joined FFA to become the inaugural general manager of the A-League before rejoining the ARU in 2007, a further stay of 6 years. He then worked as CEO of Yachting Australia, and since 2017, he's been CEO of the Australian Olympic Committee. He's also on the ACPE board, so it's a great pleasure to welcome Matt Carroll. How are you, Matt?
I'm very well, Simon. Good to see you again, and thanks for the invitation from ACPE for this good initiative.
It's been a while, Matt, since we last caught up. Let's start off with, we all know, you are the CEO of the AOC. Could you tell our alumni exactly what your role entails?
I'll keep it to the brief version. Most people understand, the Australian Olympic Committee, the Australian Olympic teams, the summer team, the winter team. We have 14 objectives for the organisation, of which assembling 2 teams for the Olympic Games is but 2 of those objectives. A lot of what we do is working with our sports, the member sports, and there's 45 member sports now of the AOC, stretching from the traditional ones of athletics and rowing and sailing through to surfing now and skateboarding. And of course, in Paris, we will have breakdancing at the Games. So we are diversifying and catching up with the rest of the world, so to speak. But also importantly, promotion of health and wellbeing, of importance of sport and health and wellbeing in the community. So organisations such as ACPE are very important to us, as are other educationals, promotion of sport in schools. So it's not just about the high performance side, it's about that participation. It's about looking after our Olympians and athletes, particularly in transition as they move out from their athletic careers into their corporate careers, or their or being entrepreneurs, or whatever they wish to do. So it's working with them. It's advocating to government about the importance of sport and therefore the investment in sporting organisations or in infrastructure. It's I guess it's also ensuring that again the power of sport comes through, and so we do a lot of again work with governments and sporting organisations, and say in the Oceania region work out there as well. And I guess also importantly to us, we just got it going with an Indigenous Advisory Committee, some more initiatives for Indigenous athletes and coaches. And Patrick Johnson, the Olympian, chairs that for us. And we've got a very good event coming up in a couple of weeks' time for our Olympians and for our would-be Olympians going to Tokyo and to Beijing in 2022 about how we can integrate Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander culture more into the Olympic team. So it's a wide and diverse one. To give you another final example is tomorrow I do an ABC TV interview about a call for the boycott of the Beijing 2022 Games. So it's never a dull moment at the Olympic Committee.
I was going to say, it sounds like you have to be across about a million different things. How good's your knowledge of breakdancing at the moment?
Well, I was a bit, how to say, I didn't consider it as a sport, but then the breakdancing fraternity and through Dance Australia, tell me what's skating, what's artistic gymnastics, and then they put me, and really, those horses that dance sideways. I said, all right, I give up. Breakdancing is, and to be fair, I've watched how it works, and it's pretty athletic.
Sure is. A more serious topic, Matt. 2020, as we all know, has been a very difficult year for sport in general, with COVID-19 impacting upon events and finances and threatening the livelihoods of many people involved in sports. How has it impacted your organisation specifically, and how have you coped with it?
Well, it's I suppose the most obvious thing is it's called P for postponement. In April of this year, when the IOC announced the postponement of the Games, and we were a little bit ahead of the curve there, which didn't win many friends in Lausanne, but it reached the point where we just weren't able to assemble the team. And the most important thing we wanted to give athletes was certainty. And there was this, will we be going in 2020 or won't we be going in? The decision to postpone the Games, in hindsight, obviously, was the right decision to make. So what we've been doing is obviously, just shifting our plans a year. The Games will be held next year in 2021. They'll still be known as the 2020 Tokyo Games, which means I don't have to unpick all the uniforms which have 2020 on them. So there'll be quite a unique one. The Australian Olympic team of 2020 participating in 2021. The athletes themselves, again, it's all about that certainty. We give them that focus that the Games will be on in 2021. But probably the biggest challenge is the qualification. A number about 30 to 40% of the team had already qualified. Any athletes that had qualified remain qualified, so they will go through to the Games. But there's quite a few sports still for that qualification. That won't be until next year, and that is a challenge. Getting athletes, take some of the judo athletes were due to go to a tournament in, of all places, Mongolia in December, working our way through the difficulties of that, and obviously the athletes having to come back and quarantine. We're working very closely with federal and state governments on athletes being able to train in quarantine. That is a challenge in itself, and an expensive challenge as well. But the organisers in Tokyo, the organising committee, the Japanese government, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, everything is in place. They've rolled all the venues over. The village, which was a property development, has been rolled over as well, so they've extended the life of that. They're working with their way through the issues. A vaccine would be obviously a great benefit, but the planning for the games and our planning for the team is not about a vaccine, but it is about, they've improved the technology in testing. There's the potential for tests will only take perhaps one, which is 30 minutes, and one they're working on 10 seconds. So basically, you can get a positive or a negative check on your COVID status very quickly. That's going to be very important to assembling the team, removing that quarantine period before we leave the country and when we come home. So we're very focused. Our sponsors have all rolled over into the following years, so financially we've been able to manage that. I think sports, yesterday the government announced that their funding will go through to 2022, so they've got that, again, that certainty. They're able to manage themselves and manage the investment for their athletes in the qualification period next year. I add that, it's also Beijing 2022. The summer games in Tokyo will finish in August of 2021, and the winter games will start 4 months later, which is quite unique for the Olympic movement because it's normally 2 years. But by and large, we're in a good space.
Matt, we've seen a lot of sports at the moment, particularly around the world, take place without crowds for obvious reason because of COVID. Do you think that in Tokyo next year we'll have crowds in the stadiums in all the different venues, or is it going to be what is probably going to look on television without crowds, rather sterile games, I guess? The crowd are a big part of the Olympics, aren't they?
They are indeed, and family and friends and people who want to go and support their athletes. The planning from Tokyo is to have spectators. They don't have to make the decision on how many at this point in time. That doesn't have to be made until next year, and obviously that decision will be made around health and safety. But at this point in time, the planning is to have spectators at the games. How many in each venue, and as you were seeing from the Rugby League Grand Final in Sydney last weekend, it was only half the capacity, but there was 40,000 fans there, which was great. And so again, the organising committee are looking at what's happening, obviously last weekend in Australia, but in other events around the world, which do have spectators back and are managing well. Again, that testing and tracing technology is going to be very important even for fans. There's some technology coming on where people will be able to trace who you were sitting next to at a particular event, and therefore, should there be a virus issue or should there be a virus scare, they can quickly get in contact with people. So there's a lot of planning going into it. And the IOC has had to, or the organisers have had to spend well over $1 billion extra US dollars on the games. The IOC have invested some $700 million in international federations to ensure they can get those qualifiers up I was talking to, and also into these safety measures as well. So there's a lot of thought going, a lot of scenario planning. There's like a lot of agility, and so for us, it is that sort of agile planning as well.
I just want to ask a couple of general questions, then we'll maybe get into some questions from the virtual room. Has your style of administration changed over the years, given your experiences across many sports? I mean, you're a very experienced administrator now. Do you feel as though you learn things along the way that you can think, I'll do that better next time?
Well, you do. As you are younger, you tend to be a bit more brash and get on with the job and just get stuff done, so to speak. Certainly, I learned a lot from dealing with A-League owners in setting that up.
That doesn't surprise me.
But I think, yes, you do. You certainly learn patience. I mean, sport, because the sporting industry's organisations, it's about, the bleeding obvious, of course, it's about people, and it's passionate. And understanding those passions and therefore being able to work with people. I come originally from a construction background, and it's about people as well. And it's bringing people together to get something done. And therefore you need some patience, and you need to be able to respect. I think respect is very, very important. I've learned over the years, people's opinions, But at the end of the day, you do have to get the job done, and you've got to take people along with you. And so, going back to the A League, Frank Lowy had a vision. I was put in charge to make that vision happen. Now, it wasn't simple, but there was a lot of passionate people there, and people wanted to achieve the outcomes. If you keep coming back, well, why are we here? We want to set up a new A League. We want to make it great for the game of football. Well, okay, how about we think about what's good for the sport, not what's necessarily good for the individual or the individual club, but what's better for the game as a whole. A bit the same within the Olympics. It's a different beast in totality. It's not dealing with one sport, but you are dealing with 46 sports, and they're all slightly different. They're all, some are very large. Your Tennis Australia is an Olympic sport, massive sport, very wealthy, down to Sliding Sports Australia, our bobsleigh team, which is tiny. But each one has its own different ways of running their sport, and obviously different athletes, but they're all very passionate. And I think that respect is very important. I've learned, and as I said, a good dose of patience is very good in sport. As I always say, sport invented politics. We're just not very good at it.
It's true, though. When you look back over your various roles, and I know you're probably too modest to take a lot of the personal credit yourself, but are there things that you worked on that you're very proud of across the various sports? Maybe the setting up of the A-League or the Rugby World Cup or something else?
Yeah, look, I think there's lots of things which have been. I've greatly enjoyed my career. I greatly enjoy what I'm doing now, and I suppose the Rugby World Cup. To run which is about the world's third largest event successfully. We sold the most tickets up until that point in time that Rugby World Cup's ever done. It made a surplus for the game, which was great, and it sort of. Well, in that particular time, built the participation numbers in rugby to record highs. So that was great. Setting up a competition from scratch is not something that you get an opportunity to do. So the A-League was certainly a highlight. And then over in sailing, where we restructured the entire sport in terms of the states and the national body and brought it under one uniform organisation. Being the CEO of the Australian Olympic Committee, one of the most important and best roles in sport in the country is very special, and it's a great honour to have that role. So again, we're expanding what we do in that space, initiatives into schools, Olympics Unleashed, probably one of the most successful sporting community programs that I've ever been involved with in sport in terms of its uptake in now up to about 150,000 students in schools around Australia that we've reached has been fantastic. So success comes in lots of ways, and I've enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, you mentioned there that you migrated the sailing fraternity from a federated model over to more centralised model. In terms of sports governance, which is a big discussion point, certainly within the sport that I cover, and probably one or two others as well, do you think there is a favoured model or a model that works better than all the others, or does it depend on the sport, depend on the people?
I actually think it depends on the sport. It's not a one size fits all. I mean, sailing was, the clubs in sailing, your big clubs like your Cruising Yacht Club of Australia or your Royal Melbournes or your Royal Perths, they're $400 or $500 million organisations. So they're and they are the ones that, well, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia runs the Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. So there's a different dynamic there, and so in pulling whereas the state organisations weren't as big as their clubs. Mind you, there's a lot of tiny clubs, from scattered around the countryside as well. So that was sort of more of a club-based sport. Whereas if you go to football, you've got some very large state organisations, district organisations, the nature of having to run competitions. So it would be not necessarily sensible to proceed down a one-size-fits-all where you pull all the state football associations under the same roof, and particularly some of the states, like take the sport of rowing, they run their regattas and they rely very heavily on volunteers. And so where you've got sports which rely heavily on volunteers to do the doing, it's often better to have the local state organisations. Having said that, you can integrate activities, finance, memberships databases, things of that nature, so you're not duplicating resources. I mean, in the case of sailing, the states are still there. We just removed all the duplication. So there was one, chief financial officer for the whole of the organisation. There's one chief executive, there was one marketing manager, there's one community programs manager. You didn't need multiples of the same role across the country. So there are ways you can integrate without without centralising, because centralising is often a bad word in sport. People get a bit nervous about that.
I think football might be about to follow that example. One more before we move on to some questions. What advice would you have, Matt, for our alumni to succeed in the sports industry, and to those who are currently working in sports or pursuing a career in sport?
Look, as I said, it is about people. So you have to be a people manager in sport. And I think that it covers whether you're in the athlete side, the coaching sort of space, organising a team, or you're in the marketing side, or you're in the general operations. It is about organising people to get things done. I often think your role in sport is to create opportunity. It doesn't matter what role. It's create opportunity for the athletes or the players. It's to create opportunity for the fans. It's to create opportunity for those who invest in sport. That can be governments. It can be sponsors, other private organisations. So to succeed, I guess it is managing people. As I said before, a little bit of patience, because you've got to have patience to manage people. We had a strategic planning day yesterday and today at the AOC, and it's also getting the right people into roles. So getting the right people around you, I think, is very important to be successful. You can't do it. You don't do it all yourself. You've got to have a team of people to get things done. It's the same as if you're a coach. You've got to get the right team. Well, it's the same thing to succeed in sport. As a manager, you need to get the right team of people around you, and that requires being very transparent in your decision making, and respectful for those who are in your team. And as I always say, I think you lead by example. If you set a bad example, then you'll end up with bad results. You set a good example. If you don't just talk the talk, you actually got to walk it, and you've got to put the effort in. And as I said, lead by example, because then the people will say, okay, that's how we do things. We'll respect that manager.
Okay, we've got a good team of people around us here in this virtual room. Debbie LaRue. Debbie wants to ask a question about what advice would you provide to sports to mitigate major disruptions, be it a pandemic or other? What can we learn from this? And just before you answer that, Matt, if anybody else does have a question, please put it in the Zoom group chat. We are running a bit over time, but we can take one or two more if you want. But if you can answer that question, Matt, if you can.
Yeah, look, it's funny. Actually, we were talking about it today. So I think there are some key learnings from the pandemic in terms of how you run the organisation and how you run sports. Just on the organisation, I think that the way we used to, sport was very good at having meetings, and everyone having to travel to meetings, and that was the way you did things. I think the online forums and the online meeting structures and ways of communicating with your staff. I think having staff all don't have to be in one city. So there is, the planning of getting the best people again. That person might be in Adelaide. They can still work. The headquarters is in Sydney. So some of those sorts of things to teach us. In terms of the sports themselves, I think once we clear the pandemic, I don't think there's going to be a lot of difference to the way sports, participate in their games or plan. I think there won't be change there. I'm sort of hopeful that also about the role of sport in uniting, getting the community going again, and pulling the community together will be recognised for what I think everyone on this call would recognise the importance of that. I think sport can do a lot of work and continue to do that in that space. And that's, going back to the Tokyo Games, their theme is, reconnecting the world following the COVID virus. So I think it's a big opportunity for the role of sport in that health and wellbeing space.
Okay, that was the only question we had in the chat room. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity that I can see here. If you've got a question for Matt, stick your hand up. If not, forever hold your peace, and we'll say thank you to Matt. I'll give you a few seconds. Anybody got any other questions? No. Okay. Hey, Matt, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Simon.
Hang on, we might have a question here. Oh, we've got one coming from Mitch Herrero. In the nick of time, Matt, with the ongoing implementation of technology in sports, refereeing, stroke officiating, don't get me started on VAR or I'll never stop. Do you foresee any difficulties or dangers with cybersecurity and or hacking moving forward? Interesting question.
It is an interesting question in terms of and I guess we're connecting officiating in that space. I guess tennis is an interesting one where I think from memory the technology is going to do away with the line judges. I may have the wrong terminology there. Well, I really haven't given that thought in terms of cyber, but match fixing in those spaces in sport is something which is taken very seriously by all sporting organisations. The Olympic movement, obviously in particular. No, I hadn't thought of technology for replacement of refereeing decisions, not referees and match officials themselves, but refereeing decisions as being a space where they could. But I take the question on notice, as they would say in the Parliament. That's a good one. Yeah.
I think Melbourne, Newcastle Jets probably thought that the VAR was hacked during the grand final 2 years ago. Offside goal. Hey, Matt, thank you very much for your time again. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak to you again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Michael's just shared this screen that you can hopefully all see because it is trivia time. We are running a little bit over time, but we'll crack through this as quickly as possible. We've got 2 rounds of trivia. Each round's got 5 questions. We've got a couple of tiebreaker questions if needed. First round is ACPE focused. Second round is general sport. Please be honest. Turn your phones off. Don't check the answers on your phone. Each question is going to be on the screen for 20 seconds. Please send your answers in order to Mike, not to me or to everybody, to Michael McKnight in a private message. So wait until you've answered the last question in the round before hitting send. So send all your 5 answers together. Does that all make sense? Hope it does. First person to send their correct answers into Mike in one message wins. And we got the prizes, a $100 Westfield voucher, and an ACPE merchandise pack for the winner of each round. So round 1 is for the 100 Westfield voucher. And we will start with question 1, which I think is going to come up on the screen now. We got 20 seconds. It'll be up on screen. Who founded ACPE? Who founded ACPE? Get your thinking caps on. I'm looking at a lot of blank faces.
Just to remind everybody, do not send me your answers yet.
Yep.
There's been a couple do it.
Down and do
Wait
it
until the last question and then hit send, just because I can't keep up with all of them.
Okay, I think we probably had 20 seconds there, Michael. So let's move on to question 2. What club did ACPE form a joint registration with in 1919? What club did ACPE form a joint registration with in 1919, over a century ago? Another few seconds for you to digest that one. Okay, Michael, let's move on to question 3. What year did ACPE move into its current campus? What year did ACPE move into its current campus? That is your 3rd question. And I'll give you a clue. It was not in the original year, 1919. In case you didn't know. Let's move on to question 4. I am a current ACPE student and I play for the Rabbitohs in the NRL. Who am I? I'm a current ACPE student and I play for the South Sydney Rabbitohs in the NRL. What is my name? And we move on to question 5. Finally, what year was the first intake of male students introduced to ACPE? What year was the first intake of male students introduced to ACPE? Give you a few more seconds on that, and then we'll see if Michael has got a winner for us, or do we need tiebreakers? We've got a couple of tie-breaking questions if necessary. So we'll just give you a couple more seconds. Right, Michael, over to you, mates. What have we got?
Okay, I'm just reviewing the answers here. Doesn't look like anyone's got all 5 correct at the moment. So
do
the
we need
people
all 5 correct for a winner, or do we just go with the most correct?
I'm currently doing the math now. All right. Well, Letitia Kenny, on the committee, this was not organised. Could you please take yourself off mute and run us through your answers?
Sure.
What were your answers, mate?
For the first one, I had Frank Stewart.
Correct.
And the second, I had Swords.
Swords Club.
Yeah. And then third, I had 2016, only because I was on the new campus in 2017, so I thought it was around that. And number 4, I had Damien Cook. And 5, I had 1919, which I don't know if that's correct.
No, the only one you got wrong was the last one, 1971, but you were the first person to get the 4. No one else got the 5. So well done.
Congratulations, Tish. You get the $100 Westfield voucher, which I'm sure Michael will send to you.
I can come and get it from the uni.
Okay, should we move on to the sports round? General sports knowledge. Just flick over to question. Well, you're ready? 5 questions coming up, and I devised these, so I've tried to make them as hard as possible. So, the winner is Tish. Yep, congratulations, Tish. Sport round, question 1. So, the Olympic Games were first held in Australia in 1956 in Melbourne, as everybody knows. Australia won 13 gold medals at those games, with 2 athletes winning 3 each. Who were the 2 athletes who won 3 gold medals each at the 1956 Games in Melbourne? Give you a few seconds to digest that question. This, of course, for the ACPE gift pack that will be given away for the winner of round 2. All right, let's move on to question 2. The inaugural Rugby World Cup in 1987, I hope Matt Carroll's still online, he's going to get this one right, was co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand, and there were just 2 Australian venues. Ballymore in Brisbane was one. Where was the other? Where was the other Australian venue of the inaugural Rugby World Cup, co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand in 1987? Ballymore was one. What was the other one? Okay, let's move on to question 3. Who won the most recent A-League Grand Final, and who scored the winning goal? You can tell that was my question. Who won the most recent A-League Grand Final, and who scored the winning goal? On to question 4. The 2020 NRL season has just concluded, of course. Who won the Clive Churchill Medal in the grand final? Who was the Clive Churchill Medal winner for the best player on ground in the 2020 NRL grand final between Penrith and Melbourne Storm, I think?
Just a note, Simon. Each winner of these rounds actually gets a Westfield voucher, each plus the merch pack, so it's all to play for.
My apologies. Thought it was one each. You get both. Right. Okay, question 5, final question. Richmond have just won their 3rd AFL title in 4 years, the first of those in 2017. But how many premierships have they won overall? How many premierships they won in their history, including those 3 in the last 4 years? So those are our 5 questions. And Michael, as soon as you get some responses coming through, it's over to you.
All righty, we've had a few more answers with this one. Ooh, all righty. It looks like the winner is for this one. Make sure I'm reading that right. Fleur Tropea. Are you out there, Fleur? Hope I pronounced that correctly.
Take yourself off mute, Fleur, if you are.
Yes,
fantastic. Do you want to run us through the answers that you had?
Yeah, sure. I guess the first 2, Dawn Fraser and Betty Cuthbert.
I'll give you one of those.
I had no idea. I didn't guess that. I didn't answer the next one, the Rugby World Cup. Then I had Sydney FC and Ryan Grant.
Correct.
Ryan Pappenhausen won the Clive Churchill medal, and 13 for Richmond.
Correct. You are our winner, Fleur. Congratulations. The other correct answers, incidentally, the 2 Olympians that won 3 gold medals in 1956, you correctly said Betty Cuthbert. The other one was Murray Rose, also in swimming. And the other venue, the Australian venue for the 1987 Rugby World Cup, was Concord Oval in Sydney, which is currently a building site, I think, being redeveloped into a training base for the West Tigers. So congratulations to our winners. You'll get the Westfield voucher and the ACPE gift pack. I hope you enjoyed the trivia. I hope the questions weren't too difficult. We have run a little bit over time, so just before we round out our event tonight, I'm going to hand over to Debbie LaRue, CEO and Dean of ACPE, for her closing comments. So Debbie, over to you.
Hi, everyone. First of all, a huge thank you to all of you for dialing in and for staying reconnected and connecting with all of us. And then a special thank you, of course, to Simon, our wonderful and gracious host, Matt for all his insights, and Mike and the committee for the work that's gone into this and for your willingness to serve on this committee. A special thanks to James and Matt, who both serve on governing bodies of the college and really contributes a lot to the college. I'm really indebted to them for that. I loved listening to all of you tonight. I joined the college in 2017. When I did, I had no idea about its existence. I stumbled across this jewel. And I think, sadly, the college is one of Australia's best kept secrets. Ironically, I do hear people say when they find out about the college, they didn't know about it. And the other thing is that, on the other hand, we also run into alumni in the most interesting places. Last year, I spent quite a bit of time in the Nordic region as part of launching our international strategy. And we met alumni in places as far afield as Helsinki and Berlin. So it is really wonderful to see the legacy and how far it has spread. The college and the alumni are really important because we really want to build the narrative of this legacy so that people know about it and understand just exactly how special this place really is. Matt has touched on it, Kelly has touched on it, and Mike has also touched on the notion of the transformational power of sport and education. I know as a South African who lived through the World Cup and saw firsthand what an impact sport had on the community, can see and can testify to that. We believe that the college serves as that nexus between the various sports, the education community and the community itself. And we'd love to have more engagement with our alumni. And I think the initiatives we've put in place to activate on the strategies we launched early in the beginning of the year are really exciting, and I have no doubt that they will continue to bear fruit going forward. So I really look forward to meeting all of you again and hearing more about your stories. Please have a look at the information Mike has shared. And in most instances, you know, if you look at the sector at the moment, the sector's in a lot of pain. ACPE is very much contrary to the trend. We've been growing where the sandstone universities are hurting. We've been recruiting where the sandstone universities have been cutting staff. ACPE's most recent quilt data has been phenomenal. The quilt data is the Quality Indicators of Learning and Teaching. It's run by the government's Student Experience Survey. And if you have a look at the results and you overlay your private providers and your public providers, ACPE features in the top 20. And ironically, all the top 25 positions across all indicators were private providers. So we're extremely proud of that. And I think this is going to become a very important narrative going forward, particularly when you consider what's going on in the industry at the moment. And ACPE's family focus, its close-knit community and the small groups are definitely going to be a major plus point going forward. So a big thank you to all of you. We really look forward to meeting all of you again and catching up soon. Please have a look at the information, particularly the Alumni Referral Program, where you can actually earn a couple of dollars. Refer a student. If they stay enrolled at Census, we pay you $1,000. So it's a nice way of adding to that piggy bank and saving for that holiday for when the borders open. So thanks everyone from my side, and we'll chat soon.
Cool. Thanks, Debbie. Everyone, the only points I have to add on to that is, although we've grown used to this online world and we really enjoy seeing our faces online, we are looking at putting together some plans for some face-to-face events, which is important to add. This year, we are starting to plan for a few smaller reunions in and around Sydney at some local bars and restaurants and here on campus. And we will be building up to delivering an alumni gala dinner and event before Easter next year. So fingers crossed we will be able to meet each other in person, which is always nice. The final point I guess I had to make is how we communicate and get in touch with you all. So please do like our alumni Facebook page to stay informed. Follow if you're on LinkedIn, our ACP alumni group. And of course, your emails, we'll be sending you some emails as well. And you can always update your contact details on the alumni webpage. But other than that, that's all I had to add on. And I'd just like to say thank you all for joining us this evening. And I really look forward to, on behalf of the committee as well, meeting you in person in time. So thank you all, and we'll speak to you shortly.
Thanks very much, Michael. All that remains for me is to say thank you for everybody for dialing in on Zoom. I hope you enjoyed the chat and the trivia. Congratulations again to our winners, and thanks very much for inviting me to be your MC. I'm an online student with ACPE, but I've never really been a part of an organisation that has been so friendly and so inclusive and so welcoming. I mean, you know, I barely attend the college on a day-by-day basis, but they get me involved in all sorts of things. So absolutely fantastic. So nice to virtually meet you all, and hopefully we'll do it again soon. Have a great night.